Hello, welcome to this training. My name is Sherry Vaughn, and I am from Endeavor Mentoring. And this training today is from a series called Feeding Your Relationships. So welcome to lesson number 1 and my introduction. So the first thing I want to tell you is that I love being married. I've been married for 24 years to my sweetheart. We have had our battles and our challenges over the years, but I have learned how to create a fun, lasting, and loving marriage. When the both of us were faced with difficulties, we now know the skills and the tools to overcome them. Marriage isn't always easy, as I'm sure you may know if you are married. And in any long-term relationship, there will be ups and downs. So why do I do what I do? Well, I come from a family with divorced parents, and they divorced after 23 years of marriage. Sadly, they did not have any tools or skills or knowledge to feed their starved marriage, and so it ended. I knew that I didn't want that for me, and I don't want other couples to have those types of experiences. And I don't want their relationships to end just because they didn't have the tools or the skills that they needed to deal with problems. The biggest reason that I'm doing this is so that couples can create loving, long-lasting relationships that are thriving and very robust. So the analogy in this feeding your relationship is the same as your body. So just as we have a body that needs to be regularly fed and needs to be healthy and strong, the same thing is with our relationships. And so I will use this analogy throughout the 4-part series. So hopefully that will make sense as we talk about thriving and feeding our relationships so that they're robust, healthy, and strong, just like our bodies. So I work as a certified relationship coach, and I trained with Dr. Matt Townsend. I am a mentor and a facilitator for the Feeding the Starved Relationship workshop. And it is designed so that couples can connect their heads, their hearts, their hands, and to create some hope. Because we feel like if we can connect our head, right, with one another, we can connect our hearts, we can connect our hands, that will allow us to create hope. And when we improve working on our character, our communication skills, our companionship, this will lead us to stronger commitments. So why is this so important? Well, there are many reasons why this is important, but only you can determine what that reason is for you. Maybe you are here today because you want better communication. Maybe you want less arguing, or to grow closer and create a lasting relationship together that's strong. Maybe you need more trust and understanding in your relationship. Maybe you want to enhance your intimacy and your companionship. Or perhaps you want growth in your commitments so that they're deeper and more committed to one another. All of these things I address in my workshop, but I'm going to share some of them with you through this online training program. So the principles that I share are universal truths, and these have literally helped thousands of people over the years improve their relationships. And it doesn't matter if you're dating, engaged, if you're newlywed, have several years under your belt married, or you've been married for decades and decades. No matter what your situation is, everyone can use support in their relationships. And so my business is assisting couples in creating healthy relationships that will last. So as I take you through this online training program, I want to be able to give you some tools that you can use instead of just giving you a speech about how to have a better relationship. So if you're ready, let's get started. So you should have a attachment that is called Smoke and Fire. And if you haven't had a chance to print this out, I invite you to do so. Then you can take notes on it about the things that we discuss. This worksheet will also be part of your first homework assignment. So most of us are looking for better communication in our relationships, but sometimes this really results in heated discussions and misunderstandings. So let's look at what can be getting in the way. So on your paper, you can see that there is smoke and fire. So we're going to talk about the smoke for a minute. It is the smoke that starts killing our relationships and gets in the way. So I want you to dig deep, and I want you to start identifying the stuff that is getting in the way of your relationship. What is the stuff that makes you cry? Just like when you get smoke in your eyes, it also makes you cry. So think about the things that are causing maybe contention or discord between the two of you. And what is impacting you the most? I want you to take the next few minutes while we're chatting and write down the things that are in your smoke. So if you think about smoke, smoke is actually the #1 killer in relationships and in fires. So we're going to think about a house fire. It's usually not the fire that kills people. They usually die from smoke inhalation. And so in this example, the fire is not the issue, it is the smoke. We spend all of our time fighting about the issues that are in the smoke, and that's what's tearing up our relationships. When in reality, smoke is filling up the room and causing those problems. So I want you to imagine that you are sitting at a campfire and there's no smoke, right? You're just enjoying your time there, roasting marshmallows. It's nice and warm and cozy and everything's great, right? Well, then the smoke starts to come and it starts to fill your whole area with smoke. What do? Do you fight with the smoke at the campfire? Maybe you say, oh, let's stay here a little bit longer and fight it. I'm sure it'll pass, but I'm just going to fight it for a little bit. I don't want to leave my spot. I like where my chair is and I'm not leaving. You just are going to be stubborn about it. Maybe you think it's just going to pass. Or do you decide to get up and just walk away? Many of us will walk away because it's the smoke that's irritating. And it's the same thing in our relationships, right? Sometimes we're stubborn and we just want to sit there and we think, well, I'm just going to stay in the smoke because I'm right. And I'm just going to stay here and fight it, no matter how uncomfortable it is, no matter how much it makes me cry. Sometimes people just get up and walk away. And we discuss patterns of communication in the workshop and go into more details about that. But I want you to think about some of the things that you wrote down that are causing the smoke, the things that you fight and argue about in your relationship. And I want to share with you a few things that couples share with me about the top things that are causing the smoke in their relationship. And if you don't know already, the #1 thing that couples fight about is money. And it's great if you have it. And if you don't have it, then sometimes there's fighting. And then you spend it and there's more arguing. You spend a lot of time earning that money. And then once you earn it, you fight about how you're going to spend it. So that impacts a lot of different things in people's relationships. The next thing people talk about are kids. They really do impact your relationship. And did you know that for each child, it decreases marital satisfaction by 20%? What happens if you have 6 kids? You are now in the negative. So you have to work at making your relationship work. And the two of you have to become the #1 priority. And you need to decide that the two of you together are going to be the most important thing and that each other are going to be more important than the kids. And that's just the way that it has to be in order to keep your marital satisfaction high. The next big one that people have in their smoke is communication. So how many of you have communication problems? I'm sure all of you do. Most of us are not great communicators, and that can cause some smoke. The other thing that's interesting with this communication issues are just the differences between men and women. Women usually like to talk more, and that's how we are wired. And I discuss that in detail in my workshop about the differences between men's and women's brains and why they're that way. But because we are wired differently, it does cause problems. And this can be a big issue in our smoke. One of the next things I hear people talk about are hobbies. So does your partner have a hobby that drives you crazy? Hobbies can take a lot of time, a lot of money, and cause problems between the two of you. Another big one is addictions, and this shows up in all forms: drugs, alcohol, sex, pornography, even our phones and social media. And it seems more and more that we will have people that come to me with problems of one of their partner, I should say the other partner, who is addicted to their phone, or they're addicted to being on social media, and so much so that is now causing problems in their relationships. The next big one that is in people's smoke is sex. And some couples have one partner who may want to be intimate more than the other one. So this, of course, causes a discrepancy, and it creates tension for many couples. And one of the funny stories I like to share is with my mentor, and they were having baby number 6. And so when they were getting instructions to leave the hospital, the wife had heard that the doctor said to not have any sexual intercourse for 46 weeks. And he thought, that just cannot be right. That's just not going to work for me. And so he calls back, and talks to the doctor's office, and he's like, is it really 46 weeks, or is it 4 to 6 weeks? And so I just thought that was really funny, right? Because that's how sometimes it can be in our relationships, that there's, one partner who wants to be more intimate than the other. And if their love language is physical touch, this is very important. And we also talk about love languages in our workshop. The next one that people find in their smoke is family. And so do you have in-laws who are outlaws? We're fine as long as we don't talk about our parents, or we're fine as long as we don't talk about certain siblings, or maybe it's crazy Aunt Edna who's causing all the problems, right? So when we look at that, really anything can be in our smoke. It's not just the things that I listed or the things that you listed. There's, always even just crazy things. One example of a couple who was ready to divorce, the wife had come in and she had asked her husband to hang a bathroom door. And it had been 15 years and she kept asking him. And then it came to a point where they were divorcing because of this. And so their coach said, you want to divorce because he wouldn't hang the bathroom door up. And she said, yes. So the coach says, well, if he hangs the door, will that save the marriage? And of course she said no, right? It's too late. And is the bathroom door the real issue? No. Just like the smoke is never the real issue. But we like the smoke, right? It covers us, it hides us from the real issues that aren't being dealt with. And magicians really like smoke too, right? Because things like poof, they appear or they disappear. We like the smoke because it hides really what's going on. It may hide holes that we're experiencing. And just like the smoke, it is a little bit easier to deal with than fire, right? We think we can kind of fan away the smoke. The fire is really hot. We might not want to deal with that. But where there's smoke, there's fire. And so without the fire, there's not any smoke. And so we end up chasing things that never really give us any results. And those aren't the things that we're looking for. We have to figure out what is in the fire. And so as we wrap up this first lesson, I want to give you your first opportunity assignment. I want you to take some time to really think about the things that cause smoke in your relationship and write them down in that smoke bubble. And you will get bonus points if you do this assignment with your partner. And I want you to be able to share with them the things that, that you have learned today. So in our next lesson, we will differentiate between what actually causes the problems in our relationship and what things are merely symptoms. So that's where we'll discuss a little bit about that fire and what that actually means. So thank you so much for watching today, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you more and sharing the next lessons. Have a wonderful day.